You ever been in a conversation and just got a feeling? That sense that what someone is saying and what they're actually thinking are two totally different things? Well, if you've ever felt that, author Henrik Fexeus says you're probably right. Today, we're diving into his book, The Art of Reading Minds, to learn how to understand the silent conversation that's happening all around us all the time. Okay, let's just kick things off with a number that is kind of mind-blowing. Some studies suggest that up to 93% of all our communication is nonverbal. 93%. That means if you're only paying attention to the words, you are missing almost the entire picture. So yeah, we're going to work on that today.
So, how do we start seeing all that invisible communication? Here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to tackle that huge 93% and figure out what mind reading really means. Then, we'll get into decoding the body's secret language. After that, we'll see how you can use this stuff to build instant connections, talk about the ethics of it all, and discover why the real superpower here isn't control, but empathy. And of course, we'll wrap up with some practical exercises you can start using right away. All right, first things first, let's get something straight. When we say mind reading, we are not talking about magic tricks or psychic powers. This isn't some gift you're born with. Think of it more like a skill that anyone can learn. The way Fexeus puts it is pretty simple. It's just the ability to understand the flood of signals people are constantly sending out, often without even realizing it. I mean, think about it. Our bodies are basically wired to show what's going on inside. It's an old system from way before we had complicated language. So it's not magic. It's just about finally learning to see what's been right in front of you the whole time. So the absolute foundation for all of this is learning to just watch, to observe like a scientist. See, most of us see someone with their arms crossed, and our brain immediately jumps to, oh, they're angry, or they're closed off. Fexeus says you have to hit the pause button on that instinct. The first step is just to collect the data. What is this person literally doing with their body? No labels, no judgment. Not yet. And here is why that is so important. Before you can spot anything useful, you have to know what's normal for that person. Fexeus calls this their baseline. What do they look like when they're just relaxed and chilling? Maybe they naturally fidget or talk with their hands a lot. That's their normal. The real clues, the big insights, they don't come from one single gesture. They come from noticing a change from that normal state. Spotting that deviation, that's the whole game. Okay, so you've established someone's baseline. Now what are you actually looking for? Well, the body has this whole secret vocabulary, and we're about to learn a few key phrases. And don't worry, this isn't about memorizing a dictionary. It's about understanding the feelings behind the gestures. Now, the face is obviously a huge source of information, but we often miss the most honest parts. Fexeus talks about something called micro-expressions. These are super fast, involuntary flashes of real emotion, like a split second of anger or fear before someone can put their social mask back on. It might be a tiny flicker of disgust before they say, "That's a fantastic idea." They are gone in an instant, but they are pure, unfiltered truth. You know what's really hard to control? Our hands. Think about it from an evolutionary standpoint. Showing your open palms meant you weren't holding a rock or a spear. That instinct is still buried in our brains. When someone's being open, you'll often see their palms. But pay attention when the hands vanish, maybe into pockets or behind their back. That can be a sign of nervousness or that they're not quite telling you everything. And now for a little pro tip from Fexeus. If you want the most honest part of the body, look down. Seriously, the feet don't lie. Because they are the furthest thing from our brain, we have the least conscious control over them. So while someone is busy managing their facial expression, their feet will often point exactly where their mind wants to go. If their feet are aimed at the exit while they're talking to you, well, they probably want to leave. This chart is a nice little cheat sheet, but let's be absolutely clear about the golden rule here. A single signal means nothing. I'm going to say that again. A single signal means nothing. We are always looking for clusters of signals that show a real change from their baseline. It's the combination of things that tells the true story. Let's see how this actually plays out. So let's imagine a guy named Amit. He's just started reading this book and finds himself in a really important meeting with his company's CEO. Just for fun, he decides to try out his new observation skills. The CEO is giving this really confident presentation, and Amit starts by just noticing his baseline. But then he spots a change. The CEO is tapping his fingers on the table. It's quiet, it's rhythmic, but it's constant. Okay, that's signal number one. Then Amit notices the CEO's eyes. He isn't making eye contact or scanning the room. His gaze is just locked on a random spot on the wall. It's like his body is there, but his mind is a million miles away. That's signal number 2. A cluster is starting to form. Amit recalled reading that this specific combo, a small, repetitive, self-soothing gesture paired with a disengaged, fixed gaze, is often a sign of some major internal stress someone's trying to hide. Sure enough, a few days later, the news broke. The company had some serious, hidden financial problems. See? Amit didn't magically read his mind. He just read the signs. So you're getting good at observing and interpreting, but what if you could take it a step further and actually use this to build trust and rapport? Well, you can. And it all starts with a technique called mirroring. Mirroring is actually something we all do without thinking when we're around people we like and trust. It's all thanks to these things in our brain called mirror neurons. When we see someone do something, those neurons fire as if we were doing it too. So by consciously and very subtly matching someone's posture or the speed they're talking, you're sending a powerful subconscious signal to their brain that says, hey, I get you, we're on the same team. But, and this is a huge but, there is a massive difference between good mirroring and just creepy copying. That's mimicry. If you copy every single thing someone does, they're going to notice, and it's just going to feel weird and manipulative. Real mirroring is subtle, it's delayed, and it comes from a genuine attempt to understand how the other person is feeling, not from a desire to trick them. And this leads to a really cool technique called pacing and leading. Let's say your friend is super stressed out, talking a mile a minute. Instead of saying, just calm down, which, let's be honest, never works, you first pace them. You match their energy a bit. Maybe talk a little faster yourself. You show them you're right there with them. Then, once you feel that connection, you can start to lead. You slowly relax your own posture, slow down your breathing, and lower your voice. And what you'll find is, more often than not, they'll subconsciously follow you, right down to a calmer place. So it's pretty obvious by now that these are powerful tools. And like any powerful tool, they can be used to build things up or to tear them down. So we have to talk about the ethics of all this, not to lecture you, but because it's a real consideration for how we choose to interact with people. Which, of course, brings us to the big one. The question that's probably been floating around in your head this whole time, can you use this stuff to tell if someone is lying? Well, the short answer is kinda. You can definitely spot the signs of deception, but the real skill is what you choose to do next. Lying is hard work for the brain. It creates stress, and these are the signs of that stress. But, and I can't say this enough, one sign means absolutely nothing. Someone touching their face might just have an itch. These signals only become meaningful when you see a cluster of them happening at once, and when that cluster is a big change from their normal baseline. And this right here, this might be the most important idea in this entire explainer. Fexeus makes the point that the goal isn't to become a human lie detector just so you can shout, aha, gotcha. That's a cheap win. The truly powerful skill is to see those signals of stress and then ask a much, much better question. What is that lie protecting? Is it protecting them from getting in trouble? Is it protecting a deep insecurity they have? Is it protecting them from shame? When you switch your goal from catching the lie to understanding the feeling behind the lie, you move from a place of judgment to a place of connection. And that really gets to the heart of this whole book. The real superpower isn't some theatrical mind-reading trick. It's developing genuine, deep empathy. It's making the conscious choice to use these skills to connect with people, not to control them. When our friend Amit got really good at this, he didn't use it to call people out. He used it to notice when a team member was stressed or struggling, and he'd check in with them. He used his skills to create an environment of trust and safety, which made his whole team more open and honest. That's the point. When you boil it all down, what we're really talking about here is emotional intelligence. It's the ability to not just accurately read the emotions of others, but, and this is just as important, to understand and manage your own emotional state. Your own energy can either make a room feel safe or shut it down completely. Okay, that was a lot of theory, but this is a practical skill, and that means you've got to practice. So how do you actually start building these observational muscles? Let's go over a few simple things you can do, like today. Here are 3 really simple exercises from the book. 1. Next time you're in a coffee shop or airport, People watch, but with a goal. Try to figure out the relationships between people just from their body language. 2. The silent movie challenge. Put on a TV show you know well, hit mute, and just try to follow the story. You will be amazed at what you notice. And 3. Keep what you could call a mirror journal. After a conversation, just take 30 seconds to jot down what you observed physically. Not what was said, but what was shown. Look, the point of all this isn't to become a master manipulator or to win every argument. It's about becoming a more present, a more connected, and a more empathetic person. It's about realizing that everyone around you is telling you their story all the time without saying a word. So the real question is, whose silent story are you going to try to understand today? If this explainer gave you a new way to think about communication, do us a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe for more explainers like this one and share it with anyone you think would find it interesting. Thanks for watching.